Hello, this is Juan Blanco from Nethereum. Today I am going to do a quick overview of how the function DTOs work. We covered it briefly on the session before on events, transactions and calls, but now we're gonna have a look at a more complex example. This example is not going to be a hands-on example, as it covers some complex areas, so it's much better just to go through it and explain them. So let's have a look. We have created an example test in which we have an struct and for a document. The document has a name, has a description, and the sender. What we're going to do is store this document using a mapping by providing a specific key. So when you call a store document, we're going to pass the key, pass the name, the description. We create a new struct of the document type, pass the name, the description, and the message sender. Just to make it a bit more interesting, instead of having one document by key, each key is going to be able to store many documents, so it's going to have an array of documents associated with a key. So when we call a store document, we are going to push, well, we're going to find our document with using the key, and we're going to push this document into the array. Just for simple testing, we will return a bool success if we want to do a normal call, but we will be performing a transaction to do the storage. So now that we have the contract set up, how will we retrieve this document? Using the documents public mapping. If we compile this, I have already compiled, we can see in the ABI that we have an input, a function which is a store document, and which outputs a success, and you input the key, the name of the document, and the description. Okay, and we also have an output and another function, which is the document, and what we pass to it, we will pass if we scroll a bit, so we pass to access the documents, we pass the bytes 32, which is the key, and also the index of the array, and it will output like a function with multiple returns. So it will output the name, the description, and the sender. So this will be the struct, our document struct, but using multiple outputs. Then our input it will be a complex input, as we're gonna find the key of the mapping, and then we're gonna find the index of the array. So just to remember, sorry, we have here our key that maps to an array, and to access a document we will want to know an index of this document, the key and index of the document, to return a single document, which will be a multiple output return of a function, which will have the different attributes of the struct, which will be name, description, and sender. So let's go over this again. So we have here our key, the index of the array, and it outputs our name, description, and sender. Okay, so how do we consume this from an outside function using a function DTO and Nethereum? Well, in a similar way to the events, we can create a DTO. So a DTO will provide us in a similar way a struct. It's a data transfer object with the different attributes. So the multiple outputs will be mapped into your class. So you will have your name here, and this is described using the parameter representing the type that will be in your struct, and you can pass the name here. The name is not really necessary, as this is coming from the ABI, but it's nice to know what we map into. So it's name, description, sender. Each one of them are going to be decoded to a string. First one's because they are strings, and the last is the address, because it maps into and decodes into a string. And mainly what you're going to do is just put the parameter, put the type, and the index, which is important. The index of the parameter. So this is our function output. So if we move up a bit, we have already as usual our default sender address and password. We have put here our ABI, have put the bytecode, we have Web3, etc. We have two functions, one which is to store the document, and the other one is document. What we're going to do first is going to send a transaction which is going to store the document using a key one. We could have in a similar way we could have done a function input, yeah, and which will be the same as the function output, and each of the elements will be mapped using parameters that way. But just to keep it simple, we just pass in the key, which is the by32 that will be part of the mapping, and the name of the document and the description. I have also added some bigger amount of gas, as the transaction will fail in the normal gas. We add these two eyes, okay? Then when it's mined, we should be able to call but this time instead of calling async, we want to do call deserializing to object async, because we have the you have the simple call that will deserialize to your int string and so on to a simple object, and then you will have a complex object which you will map into one of these. And once we get the result, as you see, the parameters are we pass the key attribute, which is the by32 in the mapping, and the index of the array. In a similar way, we do it. We do another call, but this time we pass in the second index, because we have put two elements into our key one document array. We know we have two, and we will do some couple of assertions. So if we debug this, so default password ABI web3 we unlock. This time we are able to unlock as the cat is running. We get the receipt of the deployment of the transaction eventually. We get the contract address, okay, contract, we get our store function, we get our documents function, and now we're going to store something. Store using the key one, hello, solidity is great, and we'll store again another document as part of key one, which is hello again, and Ethereum is great. We get the receipt of the last transaction. We just want to know that it has been mined and has been stored, and now we can call using our documents function, using the call deserializing to object async method, and passing our function DTO, which is this, and maps to our struct, or where the output of the documents function, which is the mapping. And we can have here the name, description, and sender, which is described as the types in Solidity. And we get both of them. Then if you can look now, result, the result is Solidity is great for the first one that we submitted, which will be the index 0, the name and the sender. And for the next one, we have Ethereum is great, which is the second element in the array. As the name hello again, and the sender is ourselves, and our assertions should pass. We're done. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this very quick overview about function DTOs and how can we decode the values that are output from in a contract in Ethereum into an object, which and also consuming these values from a mapping, which in itself it turns to a function. But just to add more complexity, the value inside the the mapping is an array, and we are able to access it through an indexer as well. So we have two multiple inputs, the key and the index. As well, as I said, function input works in a very similar way, so we could have created a function input DTO this way. Okay, right. Thank you very much.